Site transparency, around the clock, real-time monitoring on industrial sites. These are terms that we're going to start hearing more and more of. If you haven't heard them yet and haven't started planning for these terms, now's the time to start thinking through what this looks like on your industrial site. In 2026, the EPA released their edits for the new multi-sector general permit. What these terms are pointing towards is more transparency and around-the-clock monitoring on your industrial site. That means that if you are permitted sector industrial codes, you will have to understand what your site specifically must do to comply with these new regulations. The trigger hasn't been pulled in every state. For instance, here in South Carolina, we don't have to start worrying about this until 2027. Here's how this works. So on the international level, you have what's referred to as the ISO 14001. ISO 14001 is the group that sets the international expectations. They talk about this a whole lot more in the European manufacturing than here in the States. ISO is made up of several different countries that come together that talk about the environment worldwide and how we should be good stewards of the environment. I think it's a great thing. The way it plays out here in the States is that the Environmental Protection Agency comes out with their different guidelines for pollutant discharge, multi-site general permits, the MSGP, and then the states must meet or exceed those guidelines. And then here in South Carolina, each county, each MS4, each municipality must meet or exceed the state's guidelines. What does that look like for your industrial site? Whether you're in South Carolina, North Carolina, Texas, Indiana, your permitting agency is going to here real soon send out the new guidelines for their updated general permit. So IDEM, Indiana's Department of Environmental Management, is going to say that you must meet these guidelines, and they are going to also include other guidelines that apply to the state's specific issues. South Carolina Department of Environmental Services, they're going to do the same thing. North Carolina's Department of Environmental Quality is going to do the same thing. In South Carolina, that starts in 2027. They're going to release these new guidelines that must state that there must be around-the-clock, 24/7, real-time monitoring on certain PFAS. This means that if you are a metal company, they're going to want you to measure for metals coming through the discharge. If you are a plastics company, they're going to be asking you to monitor for different chemicals that you use in your plants. This information then is not just used for audits and for in-house use, it is also going to be made available to the public. This is where the term transparency comes. You are going to have to provide a way on your website as well as on your physical site for people to scan a QR code, go to a specific link, and see your Stormwater Pollutant Prevention Plan. Here's the thing, your Stormwater Pollutant Prevention Plan is supposed to list out every spill you've ever had on your site, how you handled that spill, and what you do to keep it from happening again. It also is going to tell the records that you have coming out of your discharge into the public's watershed. In a sense, the EPA has turned to the general public and asking them for help in policing environmental issues in their area. This means that an environmental lobbying group who wants to push against your site now has access to all the information that is going on with stormwater pollutant prevention. You are going to be set under a microscope. Rest easy. Buck HydroLogic is working right now on plans to put into place on our clients' facilities. We're making these available and ready to have conversations with you to discover ways that we can meet the upcoming expectations for environmental compliance. Partnering with other suppliers to create a database that has controlled access to various points into your information. We also have a way to put out monitoring devices that are set it and forget it type of plans, where we will bring in our monitoring devices, we will set them up. Buck HydroLogic will be responsible for maintaining and the upkeep on those devices, making sure that they are feeding you accurate information in a real-time database that can be viewed. Buck HydroLogic then will take one step further, because here's what we believe. What is perceived to be a negative and may have some extra headaches for the industrial site also provides opportunities for strength. What this looks like for you is the opportunity to create a system for communications, for keeping all of your stormwater documents in one place. We're going to get rid of the audit scramble on your site. We're also going to make it so that the EHS manager in Bluffton, South Carolina can communicate and get information simply and easily to their headquarters in St. Louis, Missouri. We're also going to make it so that those executives in St. Louis, Missouri can now take a look at the numbers, the data, and they now have information that's defensible and that helps them with their CapEx and OpEx decision making. It's not all negative. We will be able to strengthen your environmental plan. If you haven't started thinking about it already, reach out to us through an email and just let us know that you are interested in a conversation with Buck HydroLogic, how you can first meet compliance expectations, but go one step further and strengthen your site's communications and decision-making processes.